short video that provides sample advocacy campaigns. As communications director, I see dozens of moving advocacy campaigns every month from sites of conscience, like this mural in Nepal, painted by family members, mostly wives, of the missing and disappeared in honor of their loved ones. While a lot of these campaigns are not necessarily about electoral campaigning, they can offer some strategies and activities for effective communication. This first sample comes from a social media campaign by Site of Conscience, the War Childhood Museum in Bosnia and Herzegovina, showcasing individual stories of people who lived through the war there as children. The campaign featured a different story for a number of days, centered around an object that meant something to that person. Perhaps it was a gift from a parent who was killed in the war, or perhaps it was an item that brought them comfort during that time. While this was on Instagram, something like this could be done on Facebook too, which is more popular in Nepal. It could be used to highlight a specific issue or campaign goal that you care about. Personal stories like this, even if they are anonymous, as in this larger picture, can often inspire empathy and greater understanding, which can make people feel more connected to you and your mission. Accessibility is also important. Many of our sites focus a lot of attention on bringing their messages to others, literally. Whether setting up a campaign in a city square, as shown in the smaller picture here in Lebanon, or bringing a traveling exhibit to a rural community in Bangladesh, as we see here with the photo of the young girls. Campaigns do not necessarily have to be fancy or groundbreaking or very expensive, but they do need to share your message and do it in a visible way. Speaking of visibility, posters or inspiring messages, or posters with inspiring messages, let's say, can be a very effective way to communicate your message, or even simply the feeling you're hoping to capture: community, belonging, security, peace. There can be a simple message on the poster. On these, one says, "We are unstoppable. Economic justice is within our reach." The other simply says, "Communities rise up." Visual images are often the most effective. Not only do they inspire, but they speak to all populations, rural, urban, women, youth, literate or not. If you do not have many funds, try asking your supporters if there are good artists among them who might help you. In this way, there are ways that people can contribute to your campaign beyond money. A few other strategies to think about that relate more to electoral campaigning and advocacy are finding spaces for your supporters, old and new, to gather. So on Facebook, for instance, many politicians, at least in the American context, create private groups for supporters where they can learn about a candidate's mission or issues, or where they might interact with the candidate or just share relevant skills and news. Fostering strong relationships with trusted journalists is also very important. This often requires research into which journalists and news outlets are trustworthy and sympathetic to your mission. It also requires you to think strategically about which media platforms are going to reach your audience the most. Perhaps it's radio if you're in a rural population, or perhaps it's a print publication if your target audience is perhaps slightly older. It's important to be selective, but also proactive with the press. For instance, if there is a certain issue you are focusing on, particularly if it is something in the news that's gathering a lot of attention, you might want to issue a press statement about it. This is essentially a few paragraphs explaining your views on the subject and how your election might handle this issue. The press release is then sent to journalists who may reprint parts of it or contact you for an interview. Press releases are also good because even if they don't give you press attention, They give you an opportunity to create language around an issue and be comfortable with that language when you then go and present it to others. These are just a few activities to keep in mind as you think about promoting your campaign more broadly. As always, if you have questions, you can feel free to reach out to me at the email on the screen, and I can help you the best way I can. Thank you so much.